Hey folks, welcome back to Gaming Garbage, where we take a look at games, chat about the gaming news in the industry, and of course, stream for fun. Today we're taking a look at my review of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate that I've been doing for now the 13th month, and I'm going to go over everything that I possibly can in detail. So there'll be just a general overview if you're here for that. I'll give some talking points, and then I'll dig more into the details. If you're watching this on Twitch, some people watch it on Twitch. You guys know that I already did like a smaller review of this when the news came out, and I decided not to post that to YouTube and wanted to do something more specific just like this. So if you're watching this on YouTube, hey, welcome to the channel. And I think even doing gaming services like this to really see if they're worth it or not is important, because I think they're going to become more permanent, and companies are pushing more that way anyway, towards subscriptions, not just microtransactions or monetization. It's not enough anymore, and so they're trying to do something else. So, Game Pass is going to be first. There might be another one later in the future, but yeah, I'll always keep you guys up on the news. So let me check my audio real quick. Sounds great. Perfect. Okay, let's go ahead and get into this. So Game Pass, most of us probably know this now. There's about 35 million apparently, and but we don't know exactly how that breakdown is between the different tiers and between PC Game Pass. But it's a gaming service that grants access to a changing set of games. And my review is, of course, over 12 months. And here's the tiers. We have Core, which is now $75 just for multiplayer. You also get a base of 25, 26 games, where you're going to get 1 or 2 games added to that list once a year. Most people forget that. But yeah, you won't really notice the change very much during a year. You'll maybe notice an extra game in there that you might be interested in or wasn't there before. And that's why they'll slowly expand Core. Next, we have Console going to Standard. And this is going from $11 to $15 a month. This is $188 a year. And Standard includes multiplayer, but no day one. So if you still have Console, you can still hold on to that and stack it before September 12th of this year. You can stack it out to 13 months. And you can continue to hang on to Core as long as they allow it. Technically, September 12th is going to be when they release Standard. And so I don't entirely know if Standard is just going to take over the console tier. But what you can try is you can buy a bunch of console cards and just stack those and then just see what happens. But yeah, there's no longer any day one, which is really frustrating. But yeah, instead of Standard is now going to have multiplayer, and you get a set of games, and there's going to be anywhere from like something to like 6 to 12 months before you see all the day one stuff. So you'll be delayed. So like for Call of Duty, that's not really going to be worth it. Maybe some others like Fable or Doom, the Dark Ages. Those will come out 6 to 12 months after their initial release, and you'll be able to play those then. Next is Ultimate. This is going from $17 to $20 a month. This is now $240 a year instead of about $205. And you get everything. There's no changes to this. Multiplayer, day one, cloud gaming, etc. You get everything. Plus, you also get EA Play still. And EA Play had a price increase. It's now $60 a year, and that price increase could also be changing the price tag here, but also so could playing or adding Call of Duty now, because they make billions a year off of that. Next, PC is going from $10 to $12 a month. That's now $144 a year. You still get day one, you still get cloud, and there's still no changes to the service. And you also get EA Play. So with Ultimate, you get 510 games, and with PC Game Pass, you get about 475. And these are rotating out on a continuous basis. The games that are played stay, and the contracts are renewed or continued, and those publishers and dev companies keep getting paid. The games that aren't being played or just no longer even looked at, they're removed from the service. And so there's a benefit to the companies actually making a good game, having a good launch, and continuing to make the game that people would like to play. And that benefits Xbox, and that benefits the third-party company. All of Xbox's first-party stuff, they're going to stay on the service basically forever. So you got your Fallouts, you got your Elder Scrolls stuff. The new Day One stuff is still going to continue to be on there. All of that jazz. Ultimately, for what we pay, if you pay for 2 or 3 games a year at $70, and then maybe one or a few indie games, you're going to be paying $240 anyway. And with how I see it, I'm paying for Ultimate for my household, and so we're all able to play it. And of course, too, as my children are going to get older, there's other games for them on there that they're able to play, and so most of us probably spend $2 or $3 or maybe even $500 a year on gaming. And now that we have to pay $75 just for multiplayer, where most of us are probably going to keep that, generally speaking, so we can play with our friends. If you don't have any friends, hey, you don't have to worry about it. But yeah, if we take 240 minus 75 for multiplayer, we're now looking at $165. No, $185. I think that's right. Let's see. Let me just do the math real quick. This channel is what it is, folks. It's a genuine one. No perfection here. Let's see. 240 minus 75. So yeah, it's $165 a year. And honestly, $165 a year for most of us is actually pretty cheap. We spend more than that per year on video games anyway, excluding multiplayer. So yeah, honestly, it's pretty good. There's been roughly about 25 games that I've wanted to buy or play in the last 12 months that have come to the service, and almost none of them are Xbox games. They're all third party. So overall, it's been pretty good. Does the price hike suck? Yes, it does. Do I still think it's a cheaper option for most people that want stuff to play, that like multiple genres, that have multiple IPs they like to keep up? I still think it's a good price at $240 a year. I think it sucks the multiplayer is going up, but again, Sony did the same thing. Nintendo, also has multiplayer cost, though it's cheap, which is nice, but I'm sure theirs is going to go up too eventually, maybe in the next few years. And if you just want to avoid paying for multiplayer altogether, go PC. That's your only option. But we haven't had a price increase for Xbox multiplayer in over, in 14 years. So it was bound to happen eventually because they've kept the price static. And their expenses and costs over that 14 years have gone up about, on average, 44%. And so even though Sony is $60 to $80, they're still not at that 44% of average inflation for the cost of living in America. And they could have raised it more, and so could have Xbox. So ultimately, I do think it's still worth it. But again, if you can't afford that, or it's too much up front right now or whatever, then yeah, don't pay for it. It's not worth going into debt for. But if you have a YouTube channel, or you're starting out, or you're streaming stuff, or you can't play the same thing all the time, and you like new stuff coming in, I think Ultimate's great. I mean, my wife gets to play stuff, I get to play stuff. It's wonderful. So overall, I give it a rating of a C+. I still think it's worth it. Do I think the price will stay here? No. But eventually, I do think it will stay here for a while. So that's the short version. We're going to continue to just move on to the detail. If that's all you wanted, hey, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. So let's dig into a little more of this. So if you do want to continue to have Day One Core, some of you might just go to Core and just say, look, I'm just going to buy the games that I'm going to buy, and you're going to be cutting your costs there, which is great. Cutting costs is wonderful. If you don't have to buy it, that's great. And yeah, the games with Ultimate for Day One, we're not, again, just getting first-party games. We're getting those, but we're also now going to be getting Call of Duty. So Black Ops 6 is probably going to be one of the bigger Call of Duties that we've had in a few years, probably since Cold War, to be honest. And again, that will be October 25th. We're also getting all of the other first party, and then we're getting third party stuff too. And sometimes these are also day one launches. So like Exoprimal or Wulong Fallen Dynasty or like Payday 3. Like these are, not all of these are great or perfect, and I understand that, but most of the service is all third party games. So Microsoft isn't, and Xbox, they're not just creating a service for their games. Or necessarily for just their platform. It's PC as well. They're trying to broaden access at a average cheaper rate than just buying them all individually. That's what they're paying for. And we know this business model works because we have Netflix. Okay, we have Tubi. And while I think the business model won't work forever, I do think it will work for a while. But I think too that Microsoft is applying pressure on Xbox, Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond, to have the revenue come from somewhere. Because, they just spent $69 billion on Activision Blizzard. So they get Diablo, great. They get King, good. That'll help their Xbox mobile store that they're making. And then they also, more importantly, have Call of Duty. And that's huge. Why they haven't put the rest of the Call of Duties on Game Pass, I don't know. Honestly, I think they should. Are they still getting sales from the old ones? Maybe they are. Black Ops 2 is still one of the biggest ones, and buying that right now is like $30 for an old game. And $30 is pretty expensive for a used game. If the Modern Warfares are a heck of a lot cheaper, they're not even $10 anymore. But like Black Ops 3 is another one. You're going to pay like, $20, $25 for that. If you're going to get a bundle, that's like a $50 bundle. So whether you buy it at GameStop or whether you buy it somewhere else, you can shop around. There are some better deals. But the Black Ops games, they're popular. And if they had Black Ops, all of the Black Ops games with Black Ops 6, and then release a statement saying, hey, the other CODs are going to come onto the service, that would be a little bit more of a draw. Again, how much of a draw, I don't know. But too, like if this is expensive for you, you can also just pay for the months that you want to play the game that you wish, and then cancel at the end. And that's pretty simple overall. It's still frustrating to go through all of all of the stuff and whatever to actually cancel. But you can do that, and that effectively is giving you a cheaper cost too. But another thing as well is that you can also use CD keys, and you can use G2A. Now these are like eBays for digital codes for gaming, for all sorts of services, coinage, in-game currency, video games, whatever. And you can work on buying these. Of course, read the descriptions, okay? Read the details. Make sure you're buying exactly what you can buy, because not all can actually stack with those that already are paying for the service. So you have to buy the right cards and stuff. But, I'm able to get some of the Game Pass Ultimates on like Black Friday sales for like $5 a month instead of now paying $20, which is huge. Or I can find other deals where it's like $10 or $15. So there are ways to save money. And there's deals and sales running all the time. And the business model is that you're basically buying from somebody else that buys it in their country. And then they're doing the exchange rate for you. And there might be a small fee added for that, for your payment. But you're basically paying a cheaper price with the stronger US dollar. And so it's actually less for you in the long run. And you can do that. And these storefronts, they've lasted forever. They've been around for over a decade, and they've never shut them down because they're not technically doing anything illegal. But if you want a cheaper price tag, and I've used CD keys and I've used G2A, and I've had success with them. I have had some issues where the redemption codes didn't work, and the seller was nice. Not all of them probably are, but protect yourself too with using like a prepaid credit card. Just put the amount you want, and that way you're not giving your information to someone else in another country, right? And so just be smart like that. But yeah, you can definitely save quite a bit of money and cut the cost. And I'm looking at buying some more to stack it again, just to keep a lower price for a longer period of time. Because yeah, I like saving money too, just like everybody else. But ultimately, so moving on to the games, again, we get Call of Duty, but we also get older EA stuff too, and older Xbox titles. So Battlefield, Halo, Dead Space, Mass Effect, Fallout, Elder Scrolls, you get all of these games. And while some of these games you would probably like to have physical, just like myself, you have access to all of them without having to pay a really hefty fee. Plus, you get all of the day one stuff of things that you would like to play. Again, there's also the third party, and there's games for everyone. You have your AAA, AA, and indie. You have your simulators, your cozy games, your first-person shooters, RPGs, your story games, medieval, sci-fi, survival, multiplayer. I mean, whatever you want to focus on. There are literally games for everybody for every age bracket. The games, too, that aren't played, again, are removed, and new games are added pretty much on a weekly basis. And while most of these aren't amazing or wonderful, there are plenty of options. There's more options available for you in a year than what you can play in a year. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. And I think, too, at some point, we'll have access to Grand Theft Auto 6. And that's because when the sales have been made, Take-Two will want to make a deal with Xbox for millions or even tens of millions of dollars to actually have it on Game Pass. Because we had Grand Theft Auto 5 on Game Pass for a long time until they took it off earlier this year. And I imagine that's in lieu of nobody really plays it. People are talking about Grand Theft Auto 6. And so they're just going to save their money and possibly try to get Grand Theft Auto 6 next year or maybe even in 26 onto the service. So if you got to play it right away, hey, that's okay. Go for it. Also, if you're a sports fan, we get all of the EA titles after about 6 months. So if you're wanting to get NCAA and haven't bought it yet, maybe just wait to see if it actually shows up on Game Pass within 6 or 8 months. And there's maybe some other games you'd like to play or a backlog you'd like to go through. And if you can wait, I mean, again, you can save that money. If you'd rather just have the game and like you're going to want to play it for a while because probably the next Madden after NCAA isn't going to be great, then you have to just buy the game. There's nothing wrong with that. So what's coming in 2025 to Game Pass? We have Age of Mythology, Avowed, Black Ops 6, Doom Dark Ages, Indiana Jones, Atomfall, Expedition 33, State of Decay 3, South of Midnight, Flight Simulator 2024, Stalker 2, Flintlock, which is out now. I have an initial look for it. If you'd like, you can search for that on my YouTube channel. Winterboro, Wu Chong, Fallen Feather, whatever. I didn't write down the subtitle because I was running out of room. All of these are coming by the end of 2025. So if you buy in October Black Ops 6 and you pay for 14 months, you can gain access to all of these games. And basically, if you want to play 3 of them, your Game Pass is paying for itself because you're already likely having to pay for the multiplayer, which is $75. So again, we've already gone over the math for this. But yeah, if you want to play any 3 of these, you're saving money. And again, most of these you probably wouldn't want to own. You would just want to play. And it's kind of like using GameStop in a way. Like if they have a pre-owned copy, you can borrow for a week and return it. No questions asked. But again, you can borrow it now for a month or multiple months or as long as you want. And I understand the argument too of, well, you don't want to have to keep paying for a game that you've played over and over or had access to for years. And I understand that, but you're not paying just for that game. You're paying for another 500 games on the service. And quite a few games came out during my 12 months that I almost bought. Again, I had that list of 25. Let me read them. Another Crab's Treasure, which is a great Dark Souls light game if you're interested. Dead Space Remake, Deathloop, Diablo 4, Everspace 2, Evil West, Horizons 5, Grounded, Hellblade 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Lies of P, Lords of the Fallen, MechWarrior 5, Palworld, Remnant 1 and 2. Sniper Elite 5 was on there, which, yeah, that had already been on there for a while, but I still want to play that. Jedi Survivor came on to Game Pass, Still Wakes the Deep, Callisto Protocol, Quarry, Starfield, Bolt Gun, Darktide, Wild Hearts, Wulong Fallen Dynasty. all of those games generally came within the year that I had the service. And most of these I still haven't even played yet because I'm busy. But yeah, the value that I see is huge. And when I first started the service, there was about 330 games on the service 12 months ago. Oh, now 13 months ago. Now, there's 510. So the catalog of games that you're gaining access to is growing bigger at a faster rate than what you can keep up with and play. For most of us. Is it always going to be like that? I don't know. We know they spend $1 billion on Ultimate. We know that that costs are going to continue to go up because of inflation. Inflation is always going to be here. It's never going to go away. Stop complaining about your wages. It's never going to go. That's a losing battle. You have to try something else. If you want some tips, message me, honestly. Game Pass also has discounts. So again, on top of the games, on top of day one, on top of EA Play, on top of just being able to, now that core and multiplayer is going up to $75, which sucks. There's also discounts that are exclusive to you if you have Ultimate. And some of them are pretty deep. Sometimes they're all the way, just like right now, there's a game my wife wants. It's 75% off. And that's crazy. That's crazy. But a lot of times you see 10 to 30% off on various games. Almost like on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. And when a game leaves the service, it also gets discounted if you want to keep it. Again, if you want to find that physical copy, maybe just play it and enjoy it and then wait for a price point that's cheap. I did that with Starfield. Okay, I had the service. I played Starfield, did my review of it. I still have access to it, and I will, always. But I eventually, too, want to also buy a physical copy of the game. And so I bought it for $20. That's really cheap. I didn't have to pay $70. I didn't have to pay $100 for, 5 days early access or whatever. I just paid $20 for a game that a lot of people don't like. And that's really, really cheap. So yeah, your physical copies can also be at a cheaper price point if you're willing to wait. And 2, you can just test them out on the service. That's wonderful. There's also Microsoft's rewards program. So this has already existed without Ultimate for a while, but, yet you get thousands more per month if you have Ultimate. And so if you do it perfectly, you can basically get about $180 a year in credit. And I'm currently doing, I'm currently doing $10 a month. And there's some other ways to make things cheaper. Again, Ultimate also makes the overall point program cheaper for things that you can get. But yeah, at $120 a year, that's pretty good. And while you can't use now rewards directly, I don't think, you can still use rewards to get in-game, to get currency on your account and then use the currency to buy Ultimate. But again, the cheaper option is still CD keys or G2A. But if you wanted to do it that way, you could. But honestly, I just get the $10 a month. And actually, right now, it hasn't even been a full 30 days yet, but I've gained 30,000, I've gained 10,300 points so far in roughly about 20 days, which is crazy. It's quite a bit. But yeah, how you do it perfectly is there's Bing search on their through a laptop or a PC. There's also the Xbox mobile app. There's also searches on there for Bing, also the Bing mobile app, and then also like playing Game Pass. Even just using your console, like you get rewards and you get points and stuff. And there's also like challenges, so then you get all of the challenge points, which are like 100, 500, 1,000 per month. If you do a certain number of searches and stuff, again, you can get more rewards points, so it all actually stacks up pretty well. So it's a little bit of your time every day. Most of us are going to scroll anyway. But yeah, as of September 12th, you won't be able to use points to buy Ultimate directly, as far as I understand. But yeah, again, you can still buy the Xbox credit and use that. Just caveat, you will need to have a credit card or a PayPal account or use a prepaid on file if you want to try to buy most of it or start anyway with just Microsoft credit. Game Pass 2 is, again, a great way to test the game. You can buy a month, try it, and if you don't like it, it's great. And so, again, examples of Redfall, Starfield, these were supposed to be pretty big games, pretty big studios behind them, and again, they did not meet expectations, and so they weren't the full price tag for quite a few people. And so, even if you're not going to keep the service, Game Pass Ultimate for $20 a month is a great way to test a set of games to really see if it's worth your money or not. Because there is a level of not being able to believe a lot of the critics out there. In some ways, I'm sure they're paid, which is frustrating. There's also a lot of YouTube channels too where they're promoting, and they will maybe say a few bad things about it, but they don't want to go too hard, otherwise they're not going to get another review copy, right? So there's incentivizations to omit certain truths, and I don't like that. So yeah, you can actually just pick up a month for yourself. You can try a free trial, I think, which is like 7 days or whatever. And again, you can just test out your game, which is nice. Game Pass is also going to accelerate toward digital only on Xbox. We have to bring that up too. While I like physical, I think it sucks for most games now. We don't even get the entire game on the disc, which I think is frustrating. And it's not like that's really going to improve. But Game Pass is going to accelerate digital only. And again, we've seen this with the movie and TV show industry, is that everything's on Tubi, Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, HBO Max, Paramount, etc. Is that it's just access now, and that's what we're already paying. And yeah, it's kind of a bummer. I agree. But I don't think we can stop this change. But ultimately, if you buy 7 games or 1 indie game or 1 AA or 6 to 8 indies, it'll be worth it to you in a year. And if that's just kind of your general, your general thing. And again, if we exclude the multiplayer out of the price, you just got to buy 2 $70 games and 1 indie. And that's really not a lot of money. Again, $165. That's actually pretty cheap to have day one access to everything with 500 games on your platform. Now, again, for multiple accounts, that would get pretty expensive. Which we'll probably eventually have 2 accounts in this household as my kids grow up. But for somebody like me, it works great. I like to play multiple games. I like multiple genres. It works for me. I have multiple people, too, that want to play. And we can all do it through one console. We just share it for right now. But yeah, it works well for me. And we also have EA Play, which is $60 a year. So we've gotten Jedi Survivor, Madden, and Battlefield. Again, while some of those aren't perfect, they can still absolutely be fun to play. So yeah, the service is worth it to you if you want to keep up with games. If you like multiple IPs and you like multiple genres and you like what Xbox puts out or you like what EA puts out. And again, it ultimately is a cheaper option than buying them all. But do a spending analysis for yourself and compare. How much did you really spend last year? Go back through your credit card or your debit card. How much did you really spend? Or even just this year. How much have you spent in 7 months? And if it's cheaper to go with Game Pass, then go ahead and try it out. No one's holding you to the fire. But yeah, if you like the older stuff more than the new stuff, this won't be worth it. Stick with your older games. Stick with the secondhand used stores for video games, and just stick with your physical copies and stuff. And a lot of people too are doing that, or just buy the games you really want. Generally, as you get older, there's not as much stuff as you like. It's not as enticing as it used to be, or wondrous as it used to be. And so, again, you really got to decide if it's for you or not. And if it's not for you, that's okay. And if you're frustrated that maybe some of your friends won't try Game Pass and you like it, but they don't like it as much, that's okay. It's not a deal breaker. This is just an option to consume video games. And personally, I like the option. It works great for me. I like it for the channel, but I'd also buy it anyway, just for my household. Because again, we play a lot of games. So with PlayStation, Xbox putting more games on PC, I can see more people too also making the switch to PC. Because basically, if you like Xbox and you like PlayStation games, why not just get a PC that can, $800 or $1,200 somewhere in there will get you a pretty good one. You can run quite a few games for that for a while, and you get access to just about every single game out there on the market except for Nintendo stuff. And that's pretty amazing, if we're honest. So I can see more people switching to PC. I've known of a couple friends that have switched already, and I have several friends too that just don't play much of the new stuff anymore. Because again, a lot of games are really getting sucky, and a lot of companies we used to love and just go to war for and defend to the end, they're changing, and it's really rough. So again, overall, my rating is a C plus for Ultimate. Again, I haven't had the other services, so I'm not rating those. But basically, there's hundreds of games, with popular ones staying and unpopular ones leaving, with also all of the other Day One and EA games coming to the service. There's also exclusive discounts, and it's up to 180 credit per year with the rewards program to help mitigate some of that cost. There's also a push for physical to disappear faster, unfortunately, and the entry is raised with raised prices. So the barrier to entry is just going up. It's just going to cost more, unfortunately, and you're not really getting more. It's just, inflation. That's what we hear repeatedly. So what do you guys think? Have you actually canceled the service? Have you downgraded or upgraded? Or what do you guys think of it all? Because, again, it's not just my opinion that matters. It's you two also that view the channel. So leave it down in the comments. There's also, don't forget there's a Discord. You can join and chat with us, not just to chat mingle, but also to find others to play with, regardless of game or platform. And, hopefully you guys are doing well. Beating the heat. I'll see you guys on the next one.